Doing business with agility in the IT service management and security. We are just going to start in 2 minutes. I request everyone who are there outside the hall, please be seated. We are going to start in 2 minutes. We are going to start the event today. Driving business with agility in IT service management and security. We have wonderful presentations and a wonderful panel here today, and I'm sure you are going to enjoy the discussion and lots of learning for us here today, whosoever has assembled in the hall. As we had communicated to you in the invitation that we had extended to all the delegates and speakers, due to fast changing technology trends, gone are the days of stringent practices and heavy workflows. IT teams are now shifting towards more collaborative, iterative and customer-centric approaches to break down silos, adapt quickly and deliver seamless experience that deemed agility in ITSM, while at the same time keeping security at the nucleus of their operation. As we all know, it's one of the very important component. So today what we are going to discuss, how we can optimize our processes with development, security and operations and agile ITSM, how we can reduce IT service desk calls with self-healing and self-service in agile ITSM, preventing incidents with ITL for DevOps and SRE, integrate DevSecOps into your existing automated software development processes and automate security checks and ensure security best practices within our system. We'll start this day with an introduction about Enreap and Atlassian. As I have mentioned, we are thankful to Enreap and Atlassian for supporting us in this endeavor. Express Computer, as you know, we keep organizing conferences across the country on various subjects in enterprise, government, banking, manufacturing and other industry and sectors. And I would like to invite to brief you on about Enreap and Atlassian. We have a very eminent speaker with us, Mr. Patrao, who is a channel partner at Atlassian. With a huge round of applause, I would like to request everyone, please welcome Mr. Patrao for an introduction about Enreap and Atlassian. Mr. Patrao, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashal. Introduction from Atlassian, not going to be too long, so I'll keep it brief and quick. I'm sure all of you have heard of Atlassian. Any raise of hand, anybody who's not heard of Atlassian before? Like Dipti is saying that she hasn't heard. She's one of the speakers here today. So that's good. It's good that people know what Atlassian, especially in our community. When I do meet people, I say I'm from Atlassian. They say, don't know what that is. I say Jira. We know what Jira is. So Jira, like Xerox, is for photocopying. Jira is what it is for Atlassian for us. So we are known as one of the leaders in DevOps, and I'm not here to talk about that. I just wanted to welcome you all here. We did start a little late today because as traffic is biggest main in Bangalore, Central Silk Road is the butt of a lot of jokes in Bangalore, and how people struggle to get across it. That's been fixed now. The new problem is now Ebal. So we've got a couple of speakers coming from that side who are still struggling to get here, which is why we are trying to push it a little, but we're going to start now. A little about myself. I am the channel manager for Southern Asia. I handle the partner ecosystem for Atlassian. Atlassian is a 100% partner-driven organization when it comes to business in this region, which means that all of our business gets done through our partners. Enreap is one of our leading partners for this region. They have been our partner for over a decade, and like I said, one of our biggest partners for this region. We've been doing a lot of events with them, and last year with the fatigue that came with them, we said, okay, let's go back to doing events face to face. So I'm so happy to see a full house here. Atlassian has a group of products, a huge suite of products, essentially to do with software lifecycle development, right from your bug tracking, ticketing, up to the agile and building agile skills. In between there's a big component of ITSM. If we had a huge campaign on LinkedIn and of course across a lot of the social media campaigns on ending bad BSM, sorry, ending BSM, which is Bank Service Management. Our co-founder spoke about this in November and December, so if you get a chance, look for it on LinkedIn or probably on YouTube. We're going to be speaking a little more on this today, and we've got a panel discussion from some speakers who've worked with us in the past, and they're going to be talking about the problems that are there with ITSM in the current scenario. With that, I'd like to hand it over back to Harshal. There's a slight change of agenda now because of traffic, so Harshal is going to take you through the rest of the evening, and I'm going to be around. If you have any questions with regards to Atlassian or products, we've got eminent speakers and pre-sales at the back with us who are supporting from both Atlassian and from Enreap. So happy to talk to you after this is done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patrao. That was really very quick. And of course, he's here, so I'm sure we may have many questions around the subject and around the organization. So we can, of course, get in touch with Mr. Patrao in today during the networking. And of course, you can exchange the cards of whatever queries you can have. We can carry the discussion forward. Now, after this, ideally we had a planned panel discussion, but we are having one interesting session on future of ITSM. And this will be the speaker for this session will be Mr. Dipti Behera, who is a senior technical manager in Enreap. I would like to invite Mr. Dipti Behera on a huge round of applause. Everyone, let's bring some energy inside the hall. And we will also Dipti Behera will also be accompanied by Ms. Dipti, who is a technical account manager at Atlassian. So I may please invite you also, Dipti, on the dais. A huge round of applause. The subject, as I said, is future of ITSM, and with this now I would like to hand over the podium to Dipti. And Dipti, over to you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So today's discussion is future of ITSM. So why we are doing this? So in this era of digitalization, when the requirement from the customer are coming in frequent manner, or you can say you need like the development team are adapting to more agile methodology, and they are finding new ways to provide rapid space of the development. So in order to like handle the customer queries or provide uninterrupted support services to the development team and the customer, so the IT team, ITSM team, they need to also be more agile, and they need to adapt more innovative way to basically provide a smooth and better services to the customer. So, okay. So why this change is needed in the ITSM? Okay. So the actually you can see lots of technology stacks are continuously changing. Every 5 years, every 10 years, new flavors of technology are coming up, like robotics, nanotech, IoT, autonomous cars. All these things are coming. So these are so because of this, lots of data, lots of complexity are generating, and rapid development is happening basically. In order to handle those, the IT team need to be able to provide the right service in a seamless manner, and the experience of the customer should be fine. So because these are the methods. And another thing, the teams basically during the pandemic, majority of the teams are distributed, working in a distributed manner, either work from home or basically in a hybrid way. So because of that, unwanted request pops up to the IT team majorly. The volume of requests, the volume of tickets are basically pretty high for the IT team. So in order to handle those, and the ITSM teams to adopt more changes to their day-to-day activities and more on the agile side. So also like, okay, and also the complexity arising with lots of digitalization. So in that, lots of data are coming with changes happening everywhere. So the ITM team need to ready to correlate all those data and generate the right experience for the customers. Okay. So currently in the traditional ITSM, so what is the pain areas that are there in the traditional ITSM that need to be addressed actually? More is the focus on processes and governance actually. So you can say that currently the service IT team are more focused on processes. Everything should happen in a process, and they are more focused on that side. All the deliverables will have to go through a particular process. So following those processes, not like going for the feedback, so that takes a lot of time. So here the turnaround time of the delivery basically increases. So those things need to be handled. Also, the team needs to be more dynamic to the business needs. They need to be more flexible to understand the things on the from the requirement side. And also, like custom scripts are also there. These are basically like you have lots of teams. They do custom scripting on their own side, okay, to handle their own team requirements. That can eventually lead to create a lot of chaos. So those things need to be taken care of, and also the team is basically like focus more on reactive. You can say reactive resolution of the things. Whenever any ticket comes up or any incident is raised, then only the team basically starts working on the resolution of those things. So we need to be more on the proactive side. And also the teams need to break silos on the knowledge side. If each team is carrying out their own knowledge area, that need to be focused on a single point. Okay. Okay. So why recommending the modern ITSM? What changes they are being done in the from the traditional ITSM? So here in the modern ITSM, the focus is more on delivering the value, not on the process. So with delivering the value with a faster delivery, so we can like receive the requirements faster, and we can deliver it in a better, in a low turnaround time basically. And we need to, and the modernization team need to adopt more, and they need to be more customer centric, understanding the requirements quickly, and focusing more on delivering it in a faster environment. And also the team needs to be decentralized. Decentralized as in small teams need to be created, and they need to walk in their way. By this way, what the thing is that the process that follows in the traditional ITSM, that will not be there. Whenever the team is required, when the team's requirement is there, then only they will pitch in, and then only they walk. So this way they will save a lot of time, and lot of efforts will be saved on this side. So that's why the team needs to be more decentralized and empowered on that side. Low code and no code, basically you can say automation part. The team nowadays are focusing more on automation to like for a high transactional task, or like you can say repetitive task. So for this, the team is like doing more focusing more on automation, so that the other team members can focus on other activities, save time and focus on other innovation activities for their team. Okay. And like I said, in the modern ITSM, the entire focus was on reactive resolution. But in the modern part, it will be more on proactive side. So proactively, the team will work to identify the area where the possible issue might happen. So based on that, they can take proactive or preventive steps to enable that the services are maintained. There is no outage, preventive actions are taken care. And also collaboration and trust, that's a major part. That every team that are working in the ITSM, they need to collaborate among themselves. Collaboration with having like a single source of truth, like a single knowledge repository where they can manage all their documentations and everything, where every team can pitch in and have a single point to look into their where the actions, what are the steps of action that will be taken in case of any incident or any problem happens. Okay, and that's also leads to like empowering the teams on the modern IT side. Okay, so here we are here the redefining of ITSM is happening through Agile approach. How? So basically, it's not through like following all the Agile practices, it's more on the culture, practice, and tool and technology stack also. So here in the cultural side, the collaboration, more on the collaboration side, the more you collaborate, the more you think, and the more quickly you resolve the issues basically on the faster space, and you deliver like a better customer experience. Okay, and you need to keep on, the team need to keep on learning and improving themselves. That way they can always deliver the the product in a fast and efficient way. Okay, on the practice side, yes, they need to have a single source of truth, as I mentioned earlier, knowledge base where every team can look in and try to, instead of going everywhere, an incident happened, instead of going everywhere, looking at the logs or looking at the documents, searching, they will have a single placeholder where the document or the knowledge base is there. They can look at the preventive steps or the SOP over there. And also, every time they need to invest more time on PIR, or you can say post-implementation review, or what in Agile way we can say retrospection. So they need to invest a lot of, a good amount of time in PIR, so that in the future, any action item that comes out of the PIR are implemented in a proper way. That will basically help to basically reduce the incident time. The resolution or the turnaround time of the incident or the delivery can be maintained. Okay, and another approach in the shift left, like more repetitive tasks or customer queries happening on more questions that are basically repetitive, like how to access or how the login things happen. So the team needs to act in a shift left manner. Like all these repetitive tasks should move towards their L1 or L0 support basically, so that they handle it at their point. Or what we can do, through the knowledge base or something like that, we can have a self-service for the customer. They themselves can go through those self-service documentation or tutorials, and they can resolve it at their own end. Means like having a huge turnaround time for like small simple tasks or issues, they can just easily refer the self-service tutorials and they can resolve it, all these things. Okay, and yes, in the adaptation of the Agile approach, another major thing is the tool stack. So to enable faster delivery and to enable rapid delivery of the product, so the team are basically investing more time on automation. They are identifying, everybody is identifying like where are the repetitive tasks, where the high transactional tasks are happening. So day to day, so they are basically identifying and automating those tasks. That will eventually save a lot of time from operational side, and the team eventually will invest their majority of time in innovation, adding more new features to the ITSM arena in the organization. And regarding new technology coming up in the AI ops, that will help us like predicting, doing a predictive on the issues that might happen. That is the new flavor coming up in modern ITSM. So as I said earlier, we have currently the traditional ITSM are having a reactive solution. In the modern ITSM, we move towards the proactive. So this AIOps technology will basically help us on that arena. Before the incident happens, they will correlate all the data and everything, and they will basically provide, give us suggestion, and themselves will do the preventive actions, so that any major outage that can be prevented, or any risk happening because of unrelated situation, that can be mitigated easily. Okay, this is basically the ITM landscape. Here, basically, the detect and communicate, that has to be done. Respond and investigate the tickets, and find the root cause and RCA for all the incident or tickets that are coming. Resolve them, fix them, and follow it SOP so that the system restores back to them to the original before the outage. Okay, and last part is the learn and improve. We continue to do PI post implementation review, and the reporting. Reporting is the major part here. This will help us for the health checkup, and it will help us to learn and improve upon our processes also. Okay. No demo. Demo, actually, okay. Actually, thing is that these processes are, these are basically the processes, the RPA, the process automations that the team is doing. They will, in that, identify the tasks. They can do the scripting, or they can, you can say, use tools to automate their processes and everything. That will eventually, at the end, they will save a lot of time on their efforts. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. From Atlassian side, it will be. Okay. So I can.
Examples when I'm presenting, but if you would like to talk more about it, we can also have the debate as well.
Let's catch up.
And if you want to take a demo, we can also organize some of those things.
Honestly, this is showing you traditional ITSM versus modern ITSM. Modern ITSM is not, which is very not loud. It's been marketed from first. I was interested how Enreap will help us. What we are hearing, what is modern IT, what is traditional IT. In the long term. If you can just see, something, give us some examples of how exactly Enreap happens, we can code later. Or maybe
I think you can. You can come up. You can come up and start from that. Okay. We'll cover that those things. Okay. The RPA, that robot process automation. So they will basically work on the repetitive rule-based task, and they will try to find out the highly transactional tasks and try to automate them. Okay. In the detect and communicate part, the more major thing is the incident identification. So first, at the first scenario, it might be that somebody else is logging the incident for us, but going forward, this will act as an input for the future automation. So they will eventually, in the end, whenever a ticket or incident can happen, it will trigger a batch process or some batch process that will lead to certain, you can say, incident identification and tracing ticket creation, prioritization, and issue fixes based, and also the standard SOP will be executed so that the environment are brought back to the earlier stage. Okay, And here in this RPA process, PI also takes a major center stage area also. Why? Because after post-implementation review, whatever new reports or any new data comes up, that will be handed back to the SOP. The needed SOP is changed and will be updated, and based upon that, the RPA, the automation part will again run up. Okay, it's like the automation is learning again and again after a incident. Okay, that's how, and it will continue to save your times on that basis. Okay, yeah. On the on the AI ops part, so here the more is like predictive analysis. So before the incident happen, it will based on observability. So before the incident happened, they will correlate all the complex data. Nowadays, with the increased with the digitalization process, more complex environments are getting created, like private, public cloud, more on the you can say infrastructure. So because of that, lots of data are getting generated. So those need to be correlated and understand. The traditional way of doing it will not help us basically. So AI ops are also technologies coming up into the ITSM era. They will help us more on the like understanding the data, and before any major outage or many major incident happen, they will just try to predict it and try to resolve it through the automation process. Same way, like as you can say, predictive search, the investigation and initial troubleshoot area. Here they will automatically, as the predictive analysis predicts that possible outage might happen because of anaerobic or any services is not performing at the optimum level. So based on that predictive analysis, that auto incident will be identified, will be created, and then the predictive search and the auto RCA will happen for that, identify the cause, and it will try to fix the issue. Okay, again after like again the PI happens, and with the input from the PI, the SOP is again like receives the feedback, and it gets updated for future future incidents to happen actually.
So what kind of incident does it like in the L1 level or L2, L3, L4? What level of incident is
You can say like because of the vast infra, the utilization, the infra utilization happens. Okay, one thing happens on the monitoring side. Okay, monitoring, you can't have the daily monitoring with vast infra. The threshold can be set on a proper way. But like through the predictive analysis, what can happen? Let's say in case of crypto. In crypto, it will be like any crypto malware happens in your infra. So that will not come at every time. It will be like sometimes the CPU is in the infra utilization will be high. At a particular another time, the infra utilization getting high. So these data, the AI ops will try to jot down these data, correlate them, and they will try to predict that something is not right with the infra. The utilization, the server utilization, or the network utilization is not right. So they will like predict the issue, and they try to resolve actually. If either they resolve, or they will just send out alerts mentioning that yes, we need to look into this. Yeah. So those prediction can be done through regular way of traditional way of monitoring. Yeah, because if we do that, we don't have that right knowledge, and there can be lots of false alarm actually. So those things need to be handled. So that's why AI comes up, and they train themselves, and also the human factor, they also help to understand, add more understanding on that, on the processes side, and more on the KPI side, on the health checkup side. So this way we train the system more in a better way, so that they identify and they basically restrict, prevent any outage is happening. That can be like very bad for the business. Yeah. Yes, yes. Yes. I think, yeah, Dipti will be mentioning over those things.
This is more to do with DevOps, right? DevOps and
Yeah, more than the ITSM, DevOps, yeah.
but really here it's every example is giving an example. Yeah, but it is, I think what I know the DevOps will know that because go to the DevOps related very efficient and very excellent. Where service now and LED we talked about more about IT service management. Right. But here it is DevOps and your DevOps would be more better. No, not the DevOps is complex. For that when you want to do a IT service management and support, this is excellent. Not for more. They may have like additional but this is the main. That's what I know.
Yeah, she will give me more insight. Just to do, yeah. Yeah, that's what. Yes, please. So, I think
We have some tools within Atlassian
Atlassian.
which we call OpsGenie or things like that, which can, or you have New Relic, right? So you might be using New Relic, which is monitoring all your systems, all your websites, it generates alerts and things like that. But the tools that we are offering can actually analyze those alerts that are coming, because New Relic might be generating like hundreds or millions of alerts every day. Which one's good? Which one's actually important that you need to fix versus which one's not that important? You can just it may be just noise. So that's what the tools on this side will do, is analyze based on settings that you have done. Is it a high level incident that, for example, is hundreds of alerts that are generating for the same component or same thing? Then it's something that is concerning for that, and then it maybe creates an incident automatically in your system, IT service management system, saying, hey, there's an incident that you need to, and it can point it out based on number of alerts. It says, but if it's just 50 alerts, it says it's an L3 incident. Maybe you need to look into it, but it's not really that big. But if it is like hundreds of alerts coming immediately, it can think I'm not. It can then put an L1 incident saying this is something of high priority and you need to look into it before it causes your system failure or something like that. So yeah.
So,
Yeah,
this is basically the Atlassian ITM solution they are providing. On the delivery side, the project management software, Jira, Bitbucket, they are handling. The SCM, the versioning. On the operation side, as she mentioned, OpsGenie and status page, they basically help out on the incident, problem, the change management, and all these things are taken care of the Jira service management. They have the, in that also we manage out the insight part is there, which helps us in discovery of the asset and the CMDB. And conference is there for the single source of truth, where all the documentation and knowledge base can happen. Yeah. So with this, I think everybody is curious to know how Atlassian offers the solution. So I would like to invite Dipti on the stage. Hal.
Oh, that's some curious crowd we have here. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm Dipti. I'm from Atlassian, and I'm a technical account manager at Atlassian. In my role, I actually get to live the dream. Of course, Atlassian is a great company to work with. And every day, I also work with our awesome enterprise customers who are trying to implement the processes that you have just seen, that Dipti has explained, and what tools can help them, how our tools can help them implement those processes. And basically, because I'll just go back one slide, and these are all different products. So how to make sense of all of these products? How do they work together? And how do they help your ITSM or your service management deliver the best experience for your customers? So that's what my everyday role is. I work with our enterprise customers. I help them in understanding or structuring that along with Enreap. So while we provide guidance, Enreap does your hands-on implementation. They can help you connect all the dots that we are just talking about together so that the output is, it's a free flow of work from one point to the other point. So, but before we get into that, I want to talk about feeling. it's called getting in the groove. You might be aware of this feeling if you're in a music concert, or the best example would be like everyone's watching a movie in a movie theater, and when there's like a fight scene or there's a fun scene, the laughs hit harder. The excitement is much better if you're doing, you're all in a groove, you're all enjoying the movie together. And for me, it is more when I watch my son's relay race, they just like pass on that baton from one person to other person, and they go to the end. It's that groove that they're in. They try to finish it. They're all responsible for their part of the journey that they need to do, while also making sure that they finish the race first. So that's the feeling, and it's the same thing with service management as well, and that's what we're going to talk today. How your development, IT operations, and business teams, each with their unique skills and rhythms, get into the groove and deliver great service experiences. So as someone said, it's DevOps. Yes, when there's an incident, it's not just one person's problem. There might be something, some component is missing somewhere, and then you suddenly need an IT person to handle it, and maybe you also need a HR to handle something. How are you actually connecting all of these things, and how are they connecting the work together, and the flow of work is seamless from beginning to the end, and your incident is resolved and your customers are happy. So that's where our tools help, and that's what I'm here to talk today as well. So built on Jira platform, which you're all already using, and you might be aware, most of the teams use Jira today. Jira Service Management is designed to provide greater experience to end users, deliver new services with agility, and increasing flow of work from value to the business. So it helps in delivering faster service. It applies agile approaches to ITSM, not just traditional ITSM. So how agility helps all the teams to work better. Jira Service Management helps add that agile practices into your ITSM and match the way you work. So we don't force someone to work in a way that we think the system would take. We actually take the way that they are working, the tools that they are working with, and connect them together so that everyone is not moving away from what they're doing every day just because there is an incident overnight. And finally, as I said, it unifies your dev, ops, and support teams with a common tool set, which is best in class. And Atlassian's approach to ITSM has derived from the principle, groom your team with a strong culture, as Dipti mentioned today, and practices as per lean and agile ways of IT, and the high-performing teams who uses the products to achieve, the ways of working, the flow of work that we're talking about. And when I talk about Atlassian and where we are innovating today, all the things that Dipti mentioned in high-velocity ITSM teams, we are innovating in all those areas. We already have solutions that will help you with these areas, which I'm going to talk and show you some examples of how it helps, while we are also investing a lot in these areas to improve it better, to make it more flexible and more easier for the work to flow. So I'm not going to go and read everything on the screen. As you can see, I'll just leave it there for a minute. But these are almost everything that Dipti mentioned that are part of the new ways of working, not part of the traditional ITSM. And we'll go one by one. And as you were asking, just ask me any questions in the middle. I'll try and answer. If not, I'll get back to you on this. Let's start with modern incident management. So we have made huge strides in here in the last year. So we have incorporated rich event management, including the ability to correlate events from 200 plus tools that we were just talking about, with the responder alerting, on-call scheduling to JSM, and with strong dev tooling connectivity to our incident investigation dashboard, which allows you to see what deployments have been done in the past, let's say a day, that there is an incident, right? So you'll be easily able to understand what went wrong, that there is an incident overnight. So your DevOps, let's say your dev teams are working on something, they made a change, it was fine when they did the change, but suddenly a day after the system got stressed and then something broke, and then there's an incident overnight. You will be able to see all those smarts in that incident ticket, when you link those components saying, oh, for this component, there has been a change yesterday, which could be the root cause of this incident. So that's how our tools connect to each other. They can read, because everyone will be using their own tools, we connect them and we see what happened that it caused an incident. And we continue to innovate in this space and moving forward, augmenting more real-time information and the context to help teams make better decisions and take action on time and with, in any sensitive or high pressure environments. Because if it's an L1 incident, it's a high pressure incident, and people will be just running around the room, not knowing who to connect to, who to reach out to, who is on call, which dev team is responsible for this incident. They will have all the information on this screen if something is gone wrong, and if some New Relic throws a high-level incident, New Relic sends some information. JSM can read through that information and fill in the right fields, and then it can be directed to the right team saying, hey, there is something wrong with your component that you're working on, or things like that. We're also looking at capabilities like automated runbooks and incorporating them with the post-incident review. Not just incident is important, but what we do post the incident is also really important. Like how, because we need to make sure that incident doesn't happen again. So we are also having automated runbooks. We will also, when an incident occurs, we will show you data on the screen, what incidents happened in the past, and how that agent who is working on that incident took steps to actually avoid that, so that you have all that information on the screen and you can just go in and, oh, okay, this happened before and they changed this and then it worked magically. So all that information will be available here. The system can read or look for any past patterns that happened in the past that might be related to this incident, so that it gives the information to that agent saying, well, somebody a year ago fixed a similar incident, and here is the post-incident review, so maybe you can use that to fix what is happening today. So most of it is actually manual. When it happens first time, obviously system wouldn't know what happens. But then when your teams, as I said, it's also practice. When your teams start doing, once you close this incident, it'll show up screen saying, please fill the post-incident review so that you can move forward. Otherwise, they can't close this incident. So they have to diligently do that. They have to okay, fill the post-incident review. So next time something happens, they can use it to, to fill, but maybe it's a different incident and they have to fill. So it's.
Then how will the system read out that runbook?
It will all be linked to the ticket. So basically when, let us say there's a new incident and there is a ticket that is created for a new incident, and system recognized there is an old pattern and there is an old ticket that's also for the same component, it will show that, well, here's a ticket that some agent worked on a year ago, and here's the post-incident review from that agent. And then they can just click on that post-incident review and see if it is useful, they use it. If it is not, they update it, or they create their own post-incident review.
So in that case, does it pick up the word from the summary as a keyword and then take it back from the KB as a similar kind?
It can. It depends on how you set it up. It can. You can use automation for Jira to actually pick up some of the fields from your current incident and then link and see if there's any KB knowledge base articles, and then put them on the screen as well. Like there's some knowledge base articles that they can use. Again, you need to build your knowledge base as well for that, which your teams will need to diligently fill and update the knowledge base, so that incidents like this will have available knowledge that they can use to resolve it. Moving on, when we see flip side of incidents, we have change management. 90% of the time, the incidents are always cause of some of the changes that have happened in the system. Your dev teams go and change, they test everything. On test environment, it's all rainbows. On staging environment, it's again rainbows, but then it hits production. Everything will be fine for a day, and then the day after that, the system gets stressed, and then suddenly everything goes down. So changes are, what we identified is changes are actually the root cause of a lot of incidents. So what we did is we incorporated change management also into our ITSM tool. So now when someone raises a change request on some of their components, the data is already fit into the system. So when there is an incident, for example, let us say billing system you have, and someone changed the billing system, the code has been pushed, it's on production, it was going fine, but suddenly you started getting incidents that billing is down. So when that component is selected in your incident ticket, it will show you what are the past changes that happened on that component, and it will show you there has been a deployment yesterday on the billing system, and that might be the cause. And right there from the ticket, you will be able to pull the change back. So you call back the change, and then the system goes live, and then you figure out why it happened. So you fix the incident because the smarts are there, the information is available, and then you will be able to see, okay, now what? Why this change has caused a crash? But your customers are still using the billing platform while you figure out what happened. So you can pull back your change requests as well, because you'll be if you've connected your dev tools, DevOps tools as well, like Bitbucket, Git, wherever you're pushing code, you will also be able to pull it back, the change, revert the change, and then figure out what's wrong with the incident. So change management is another place where we are innovating a lot as well, and it is quite dynamic. Moving on from change management. Now, when incidents or changes come, how do we know which components, like what is broken, yeah. No, go ahead, it's okay.
Go on the previous slide.
Yeah.
It said intelligent risk assessment. Can you touch on
Yeah, sure. So what happens is you can also tell the system about your risk assessment. So when you're raising a change request, let's say you have a couple of fields on the change request form, says, okay, do you need a downtime for this change? Someone selects, yes, I need a downtime. Do you need any factors that you assess the change, right? So based on that factors, you can build risk assessment saying, okay, if these 3 answers are yes, my risk assessment score is high. So for example, if it's a change, it's not going to break anything, it's just a simple push or things like that. So you can understand between simple changes versus changes that are affecting the entire system, and you can have a risk assessment score assigned to it. And then you fill in a field in your change thing saying, okay, for the risk for this particular change is high, then it goes through an approval process. So it then kicks off an approval process where someone has to review that change, someone has to make sure that the change is proper and everything. Only then they approve the change, and only then the code gets pushed. Now, based on those factors, let us say the risk came down low. It's like there's no risk, there's no downtime. Even if that change goes wrong, nothing is going to break. So based on those factors, if it's low, you can kick off a workflow that says there's no approval needed. You can just go and do the change. Like for example, someone changing a mistake on a website, a typo mistake on a website. It is a change, but it's not going to break anything. I just mistyped it, so I'm going to fix it. So they don't need approvals or waiting in the queue just to make a small change on a website. So such changes you can understand with your risk assessment saying, okay, this is a low risk change. They don't need any approvals. They can just directly push to production. Whereas some things that needs approvals, and you can kick off a workflow that says they need 1 level, 2 level, 3 level approvals before they even actually push the change to production. So,
Two small questions on top of
yeah.
this. First, is this a mandatory step or can we skip it? First. And
Mhm.
the second one would be the kind of risk that one would want to identify or
Mhm.
that particular column, can it be customized or is it?
Yeah, it is customized. So this is something basically you customize, and you use automation for Jira to actually say your customized parameters. So when you say you just have like 5-minute downtime, maybe it is not a high risk change for you, but maybe even 5-minute downtime is a high risk change for someone else. So you, based on those parameters that you set, you can make a knowledge base article saying this is my risk assessment score that I use to risk assess the changes. And the automation will fill in the fields based on whatever parameters that you have set up. And based on that, if it is a low risk, it skips everything altogether and then it just goes. Now, you don't want to implement it. You want all your changes to go directly, or like, you want all your changes to move to production. You don't have to do that automation. You just say, I'm not. Yeah, it can be skipped if you want to.
Does your system have to calculate that risk score, or is it a manual process?
It's a setup that you need to do initially, like saying, because again, as I said, it differs from company to company. You assess risks separately versus a bank assess the risks separately versus
Does your system have capability to calculate automatically?
Yeah, so the automation can calculate it I mean, once you set up your scores in that automation, which somewhere else Enreap can help you to do that setup based on the risk assessment document. Let's say you prepared a risk assessment document and you've given them, and then you said, okay, I need to set up this, my process based on this. You set up that automation once, and then it is done. So later on, whenever somebody is raising a change request, the automation kicks off. It looks at what is the risk factor involved in it, and then the workflows, everything. So, but then that one-time setup is manual, where you need to first understand what you want to set up, and then move the changes forward based on that.
So, excuse me, while, I really appreciate and it's quite encouraging for all of us that, session is getting interactive, but we have a panel discussion also and a small presentation after this. So, may I please request you to please note down your query, your concern, your questions, and then probably after she finishes her presentation, we can get in touch with her. Yeah, will that
But
be
I
okay?
can take one question.
Yes,
from you
of
then.
course.
I'll take one
please.
question.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool, go ahead.
You mentioned about the big changes, right?
Yeah.
Big magnitude. And the second one is the component. That means it's also controlling the build. If I'm building 10 components, maybe 3 components are dependent on each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
You also manage that too.
Yeah, absolutely. You actually right segue into my next thing, asset management. So this is where you set up your components and the relationships between components, and how, like for example, the billing component that I just mentioned. Now, billing is not just billing. It is linked to your payments. It's maybe linked to your login component. It may be linked to your entire website. So you can set up those relationships in our asset management tool, which is Insight. It is inbuilt into our JSM that I was talking about, where you can say, these are the services that offer, and these are my services that are linked to each other. There's a relationship. Something is dependent on something, whereas something is affected by something else. So now when someone raises an incident for billing, I can actually see what other services might be affected because of an incident on that billing component, so that you can also, let's say, send a notification to someone who is also managing the other component saying, hey, we have an active incident on billing. So you might also need to check how that might have affected your components and the website altogether itself. So that's how the relationships work. Now, this is not just with your software services. Insight can actually help you also map your facilities, laptops, even chairs that you have in your office. How many chairs do I have? Like, for example, if HR is onboarding a new employee, all they need to do is go to your ITSM portal, they raise a ticket saying, I need this laptop, and then they can also see what are the laptops that you usually provide as part of your company. You might have some models that you provide, and they can also see how many are there in inventory versus if they need to order a new one. And all of this is built on Insight. So you can, hardware assets, software assets, everything, you can actually feed the data in there, and that it will be used as smarts. Like, for example, let's say I'm in my company, Atlassian, I have a laptop. My Insight already, in Insight already knows that I have a laptop assigned to me, ABC1, let's say my laptop name is. And tomorrow now I go into my service management portal saying my laptop is down. It can look at my name, and then I can already see which laptop is assigned to me. So I just need to select that. I don't need to put in all the details saying, this is my laptop, here is my SEN number, here is the manufacturing date, and all of these things are already in the system. So all I need to do is select that laptop, and whoever agent that got the ticket, they already know if it is under warranty. All the details are fed into the Insight, so he already knows everything, and he already knows if it is like, should I just scrap the laptop, or should I send it for maintenance because it is in maintenance? And he can already assign an available laptop in the system. If there is something sitting in his desk saying, okay, I'm going to assign this to you in the interim, please drop the laptop with me, and then we'll get it fixed.
Can it integrate with the CIO, CMDB, or Salesforce or something?
There are some integrations. I don't remember from the top of my head. Yeah.
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 Why do I want to do another asset CMDB on this?
Correct.
So it's very important. It should rather pick from the existing.
There are some integrations. I'll look it up and I'll get back to you. I don't remember from the top of my head, but you can use CSVs or something to import all that data that you already have into that. But yeah, I'll get back to you on that. So the next thing is data analytics and business management. Analytics are really important. The data is really important. Now we've seen all the systems, we've raised incidents, we've raised changes, everybody is happy, the incidents are fixed, but how are we gonna learn from them? How are we gonna analyze how your teams are performing, how many incidents are there in the last, last year, which components are getting affected more versus which components are not getting affected more. And in this era, we are also innovating, and we have a tool called Atlassian Analytics, which can pull in data from your Jira and all the sites, and you can build your own reports out of it. Of course, we have readily available reports in our JSM as well, but this is a little bit advanced where you can write SQL queries, and it's just basically throws all your raw Jira database into Atlassian Analytics, and you can use it to build your own reports. And the other part of this is you can also integrate your other BI tools into it. Currently, there are some integrations. The others are coming. They're on the roadmap. So you can integrate, let's say, your other, I just forgot. I can't remember any name of any other BI tool. But some BI tools you can just integrate into Atlassian Analytics, and you can make reports out of all the data that you have from your systems, because you might not be just using Atlassian products. You might be using other products outside as well. So you can pull that data as well into Atlassian Analytics and try to build reports out of it. So the next part is automation. I've already covered it, so I'll skip through it. So automation is something that we are very proud of. It is no code, so anyone can actually go and use the components that are there and build automations, like the risk assessment tracker that we have. We can just use that, build the automation based out of that. It's very easy to build, and anyone can use it, until you're going way deeper, writing JQL queries or big code to do those automations. It's very user-friendly. And we also have a lot of templates that you can readily use. Like, for example, say if an incident is raised by one of your top customers, then you say, this is a high priority incident for me. Maybe it's a small one, but you want a white glove treatment to your customer. So automation can say, okay, if it is this customer, I need a team on standby giving him all the white glove treatment. So it'll tell you all of those things based on, you can write automation scripts based on those. Next, ChatOps and virtual agent. This is a continuous journey for us. We are also in going beyond what it is there. Help, like you asked, is one of the company that we have acquired in the last year. So what Help does is it will integrate into your chat that you're using. Let's say you're using Slack today or Teams. You can use that, whatever the conversation, let's say you have a Slack channel for your employees to raise concerns. Now they go to the channel, they raise a concern, there's an agent there talking to them, they want to create a ticket. They can just add an emoji to that ticket, and there is a ticket automatically created in JSM where someone can go and work on it. So they're not switching any systems, so you're basically using the chat functionality that you have in your Slack or Microsoft Teams to raise incidents on your Jira Service Management, so things are not missed, because when we ask employees to, like, hey, we have a portal, go there and raise an incident, they'll be like, oh my God, it's a big process, I don't want to do that. I just want to, tap someone on the shoulder who is sitting right next to me and tell him that my laptop is not working. So it's kind of bringing that experience into it. So we're saying, okay, I have a Slack, I have a friend in IT who works with me always. I'm going to ping that friend, and now that friend can just raise a ticket in JSM with adding a simple emoji. So that's how Help, it's integrated into JSM, and you can connect either Slack or Microsoft Teams into it, and you can use that to raise incidents as well without switching a lot of tools and making a lot of people pissed off saying, I don't want to go and fill a big form to raise a ticket just for my laptop. Because in this age, we don't have a buddy sitting next to us where we can just tap. People are sitting everywhere globally. And collaborative knowledge base. So we continue to improve in our knowledge base capabilities in JSM as well. So liberating, this is basically built on top of Confluence. It's again another tool of ours, which is a knowledge management tool. So all your knowledge you can start building in Confluence, and we have a very rich search functionality where your knowledge, any incident that, for example, it can search and show related knowledge base articles for that incident, so the agent doesn't have to go to Confluence and search it for himself. He can also show related knowledge base articles, so the agent itself can resolve the incident maybe from the knowledge base articles. And it's not just agent as well. When someone is raising a support ticket in the portal, and I say VPN, my VPN is not working, I just type VPN, and you can also show all your knowledge base articles related to VPN. So maybe you're actually avoiding that person raising a ticket altogether, because all he needs to do is, let's say, a reset of his system, and that's what the article will say. So you don't even get a ticket, he just self-resolved his incident. So that's where you can use Confluence for that, and we are also improving a lot in that. Search functionality is super smart, and if, for example, me, as a person, always have problem with VPN, so I don't even have to go and type VPN. It'll show me the articles that I've already always visit and fix my problems. So it will read, try and learn from my behavior or the user's behavior, and it'll show the relevant information. If you have heard our recent acquisition of Proforma forms, so you can use, these are again no-code forms that you can use for your request types. Like, you don't have to have, we always know the problem with Jira custom fields. We sometimes end up having 10,000 Jira custom fields for just one small thing. So this is actually avoiding that need. You can actually get all the information in a form where users can fill, and it's also, you have that pickup capabilities where you say, okay, if I select laptop, only my laptops will show, or you can use that to not show all the fields to the user. You can only show, let's say, relevant fields based on whatever that they're selecting before to raise the incident or change request or service request or whatever. So you can use these forms to, and there's almost 300 plus templates that are readily available, which you can just use. You don't need to build everything from scratch, or you can just use the template and maybe make some changes onto that template and then put it in your request forms. And this information will also be visible on the ticket to the agent. He can just see the form that the users have filled while he's looking at the incident, or even a service request for that matter, if someone raises it. And then we have autonomy with control. Now, a lot of the times the customers that I talk to, they say, wow, this is all super cool features, but how am I going to set it up? How complicated is it for me to set up all of this process into my ITSM system? So that's where we have templates that are tailored to every team. You have a HR team, all you need to go is open a Jira project, select HR, and then we have a template built for that HR team, which you can just use it as a starter, and then you make your changes based on that. So you don't need to sit down for like 2 days to build the entire project for the HR team. We have templates that you can use readily so that you don't have to do it yourself, and also it's tailored to their team. So you can't just show Agile's board for your HR team. They'll be like, get scared, and it's like, what is this? I don't do scrums. I have no idea what it is, and then they just go and use, I don't know, a notepad to raise issues or use tickets. So you can use anything that is tailored to their team, and they can work in their own way and not be forced to work in a way that we tell them to work. We just use some of the fields. We call it like freedom within a framework. You give them the framework, but they still have the freedom in that framework to do whatever they want, whatever process, whatever workflow that they want to do, so that you're not constraining them to say, no, this is the path, you have to walk on the line and don't go beyond the line. So we kind of give them the framework, and then they can choose whatever they want to do inside that framework. Smart and predictive insight. So this is exactly what I was talking about when we can pick up from user behavior. Me as a person, let's say I'm always assigning tickets to Dipti here. So whenever I click on my assignee field, the first option will always be Dipti, because the system already reads it. Oh, she always assigns it to him. Or maybe so it's kind of reading how the user is performing. So whenever because sometimes our Confluence can go out of control. Like, you have millions of documents that are there. Now when I'm searching, I don't need all that millions of documents. I work with X team, and I need documents that are prepared by that X team. So it kind of reads it, and then when I'm searching VPN, it only shows me the relevant documents about VPN. It doesn't show me how VPN is implemented in the company. I don't need that. I just need to know how to fix my VPN issues. So when I search VPN, it'll show me it'll read my behavior, and it'll show me what is relevant to me And we are also doing a lot of work in this area to make sure that we're not showing irrelevant content when someone is going and searching. They just lose interest. They spend all the time searching documents in Confluence just to end up with one small document by the end of the day. So we're also improving a lot in that area. So with that, I'm going to say thank you. I'm sorry that it's not a demo, but if you are interested in demo or of how these things connect together, I'm more than happy to, we can schedule a call with you. Even Enreap can show you the functionalities themselves. We have more tailored demos, so you can, this is too much, so we can't actually show one demo of all of these products. So we kind of sit and talk to you, understand what your process is, and we will show what is relevant to you, what could help you achieve what you want to achieve in JSM, removing all the noise together. So with that, I'll say thank you. Thank you for listening to me. If you have any questions, I'll be here. Just tap on my shoulder. Thanks.
Thank you. So what I can comprehend, presentation was really very interactive as we see many questions from the audience. We have another power-packed session now. A huge round of applause one more time for Dipti, Ranjan, Behera, Senior Technical Manager Enreap, and Dipti, a Technical Account Manager at Atlassian. A huge round of applause for them. Thank you, both of you. Now we shall start our panel discussion. I will try to facilitate the conversation and seek inputs from all the 5 panelists that we have. They are the people who have been in the industry for a long, and as you can see, they are quite experienced in their field. May I please invite our first panelist for the day, Mr. Venkatraman, CIO, MTR Food. Mr. Venkatraman, please join us on the stage. A round of applause for all the panelists, please. Mr. Sanjay Singh, CIO, Games 24/7. Mr. Singh, please join us on the stage. I invite Mr. Arvind Singh, Chief Technology and Product Officer, Executive Vice President, Information Technology, Purvankara Limited. Sir, please join us. I invite Mr. Mahesh S., Vice President, Engineering, Chargebacks 911. Sir, please join us. And we also invite Mr. Shrikant Thumma, Lead Consultant for Atlassian at Enreap. Mr. Shrikant, please join us. Once again, thank you everyone, and we'll try to seek inputs and request all the panelists to share their expertise and experience on this subject, around the subject which is driving business with agility in the IT service management and security. And taking clue from what we just saw in the presentation, right, how ITSM is redefined and how agile approach is being adopted, right, and then we also saw the 3 important aspects: culture, practice, tools, and technology in the presentation by Mr. Behera. Let me start with my first question, and I'd like to seek input on this question from everyone. Sir, keeping the subject in the mind, right, what are some of the challenges that you see as a CIOs in different of CIO of different organizations, especially from the time of pandemic to where we are now? And let's start it with we can start it with our first panelist, Mr. Venkatraman, CIO, MTR Foods.
And good evening to all of you. It all started with the disruption which COVID had brought in, and the immediate lesson which has been brought forth is expect the unexpected, or rather be prepared for the unexpected. So that was the first lesson. The second one which has been brought in, and of course, and that's a learning, and that's the way we are now adopting as far as the work culture is concerned. The conventional way of working, which was kind of a physical presence in the office and all, is slowly, it's not completely changing away, but then again there is a inclination towards accepting the remote ways of working. And with the remote ways of working coming in, you have something which is an accepted way of providing the support from the IT standpoint. The systems have to be geared up to cater to the needs of the end users, the business and all. The third one, which I could feel and that has become kind of a routine affair, is that you need to look at aspects like security, which have gained prominence with remote ways of working, the digital ways of doing business and all. So these are some of the important ones which have come to the fore. And if you see the remote way of working or emphasis on security, there was a lot of business justification to be done when it came to investing in IT security, but that's not required. It has made our jobs easier when you talk about security part of it and all. The operational technology, which was never at the front end and all, but that's again has gained importance. The digital investments, as far as the back end part is concerned, that again has gained importance. So there's some of the areas where the focus is increased. The other challenge which has come to us is retention of the employees, retention of the right talent. With the markets opening up and with newer ways of working and all, just take the case of our organization. We are a typical FMCG and all. We were never used to having a remote working and all. But if you see, our focus has shifted from a physical presence in the office to a hybrid way of working. Being a typical manufacturing organization, it was a kind of a new way of working and all, new culture. And employees, while they have liked it, and all the business heads and even the function heads like us, we have also changed our ways of working, saying that, okay, I mean, as long as you have work being done, irrespective of the location from which an employee works, and you have to gear up your infrastructure, you have to build that amount of trust in your employees, and you have to rely on technologies, new ways of working, new technologies, which will enable this way of working and all. So these are some of the things which have come to the fore. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Venkataman. Let's hear from Mr. Sanjay Singh, CIO Games 24/7. Mr. Singh, your inputs, please.
Yeah, so I think adding to what he said, one is, of course, the tech became the backbone for all the enablement. The other thing, my personal view on that is, I think even the attackers became very, very smart, right?
Yes.
And maybe they got a lot of time, right? If you see the number of attacks in last couple of years, it has gone up significantly, right? And at the same time, I think even on the, how do we prevent that? The number of tools that have come up, right, in last 2-3 years, huge, huge. So I think these were some of my observation adding to what he said.
Right, thank you. Mr. Arvind Singh.
It's okay?
Yes.
So I think he has covered a lot of things. The basics of the game, that have changed. Companies who were not open for digital transformation, you have seen a lot of things were said here.
Yes.
Everybody talks about digital transformation, but transforming was at the backstage. But because of COVID, everybody accepted it.
Yes.
And over the night, companies were transformed. That was one thing. Second thing, I would say, there were some drawbacks also, like moonlighting came in picture. People used to do those things earlier, but because of COVID, that got highlighted. Okay. And third thing I would say is he touched on resource, retention of resources. So when people are used to, work multiple places, work from home, work for multiple companies, earn more, if you have rigid policies, then retaining the resources is difficult. That is there. Fourth thing I would talk about is, I think there is no black and white rule for every organization. It's all depends on what stage of business, what type of business you are in, and what stage of business you are in. That will actually define the culture of your organization. COVID, I don't think it is going to impact that way, because I'm into real estate. We have 100% attendance in the company.
Right.
Companies like TCS, they are also getting into 100% attendance. So there were talk that there would be a hybrid work culture, all those things. I would say that would again become a cloud story. Earlier, cloud was the only solution. Now it's a hybrid cloud.
Right. Right. Thank you, Mr. Arvind Singh. Mr. Mahesh, who is Vice President Engineering, Chargeback 911. While I request you to share your input also on this question, one more thing I'd like to understand from you is that from R&D perspective, if you can also comment and how do you ensure agility in ITSM?
Thank you. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
So, just adding to what they've said, from a technology perspective, from a innovation, so most of it is covered. The only other thing I would like to add is, mental fatigue, excessive digital use, right? So that has come to the forefront, and as leaders, we've seen that we've had to change the way we look at our own employees, the way we look at our own operations to take care of all of this. So that's the only thing I'd like to add there. Coming to the R&D view, there are a few things that that we had to look at from an agility perspective. ITSM, we've always heard ITSM is the old age thing where you follow a set of processes and all of that. So from a R&D perspective, the first thing is we've started shifting left. When you talk about shifting left, we spoke about security, we spoke about quality, we spoke about a whole bunch of things today. Now, how do you ensure that all of this is part of your delivery, even during your life cycle itself? So from our perspective, what we basically started doing is we started embedding all of these concepts in the pipeline and ensure that security checks are done on the fly, not on demand, right? It's all automated. So how do you keep the entire pipeline within a 30-minute block, taking care of security, quality, and all of this, and deliver? Now we know of Amazons of the world. They actually do 130,000 deliveries in a day, 1.6 deliveries in a second or something like that, right? Some crazy numbers. So how do we get close to that? How do we, and what is the reason for doing that, right? So we're doing repeated delivery, fail fast, get on your feet, keep running, so all of that. So that's the first thing. Second thing is from agility, why are we being, from an ITSM perspective, why are we being reactive? Why are we waiting for a ticket to come to us and then assign it to somebody? So the moment you got monitoring, observability. If you get a ticket, when you get an incident, when you find an incident or a potential for an incident, why don't we just open a Teams channel, for example, or a Slack channel, get the right people on the, that will fix it. And why should it be an agent? Why should it be a support agent? Why don't the developer who created the problem in the first place be pulled in there? So those are some things that we took into consideration. Basically SRE, right? Site reliability. So we took all of those into consideration in R&D to ensure that those were rolled back into the production systems. So those are some of the things that we took into consideration first, and then, of course, with monitoring, with proper communication, tools like Everbridge, Ops Genie also was spoken about, AIOps and all that. So those are something that actually helped us in our R&D journey, making it more agile.
Interesting. Thank you, Mr. Mahesh. Now let's go to Shrikant. Shrikant, you must be interacting with a lot of CIOs, right? How has been your experience?
Well, I think most of the challenges the team has, the panel has covered, but what drastic change I see before pandemic and after pandemic, the CEOs are talking on agilities. The main focus, they wanted to get agilities in the market because the CEOs are thinking from the business point of view, bringing technology more than a business. So they want a business to grow in the competitive world.
Of course.
So their main focus on the planning or the delivery or the operations. So mainly in the operation to bring the ITSM, stabilizing across the organizations and getting the visibility. That was the main focus what the CIOs are. Challenges as of right now.
Is there any change required in ITSM? Probably we'll ask Mr. Venkatraman. What innovations probably or what advancement you would like to see in future when it comes to adopt this entire strategy or entire approach?
See, in the earlier presentations, in the sessions which we saw about the presenters from Atlassian, I could latch on to some few key features which they talked about. One is the predictive part of it. Now, how can you leverage that, and how can we, as a business, it gives a lot of mileage if we bring in the predictive aspect, be it our manufacturing backend, be it on the sales side, etc. So that aspect has to be brought in. While this is talking about more of a service part of it, but across the business, this is important. And from the service perspective also, it is pretty important. I'll just give an example. If you see our manufacturing setup, the factories which are there, they are largely automated. I mean, there's less of manual handling and all. And we are more dependent on the machines, the automated ones and all. So can the predictive aspect when it comes to the service part of it, the training part of it, the maintenance part of it, this gives a lot of value. I mean, and that's based on the historical data or the data which builds up over a period of time, and some kind of AI as well as ML combination helps us a lot in reducing the downtime of the machines, thereby increasing the productivity part of it. That's one part. The other part is the manpower efficiencies also, which you can build. The behavioral part of it, and when AI again pitches in, you see a lot of efficiencies building up and all. The same workers who were at an efficiency of say 50 or 60% of it, you see the efficiency scaling up. And this happens because there is a man-machine combination wherein AI plays a vital role out there and all. So machine efficiencies, resource efficiencies, they play a vital role out there and all. That's one part. The other part is the proactive part of it, and some of our colleagues are talking about that. So why can't we be proactive? Gone are the days when consumers expect you, and of course consumer at the end of it, the value chain, if you see, consumer is the focal point. So if we have to be proactive in our business, our response, and maybe the agile part of it and all, if you have to be responding quickly to the changing consumer needs and all, you require some element of proactiveness. And here comes these tools, which if they bring in the proactive part of it, if they, before even the problem surfaces, and you go on a reactive basis and try to resolve it, if this element can be brought in, I mean, these are clear values which across the value chain of the business, across the business chain, you will see a marked difference in the business responding quickly to the consumer needs, or before the needs emerge, or before the issues emerge and all. And at the same time, you will see almost a leap in the business from the perspective of how you do business, process part, efficiency part, etc. So those are the two things which I could relate to.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Mr. Sanjay Singh, would you like to comment on the changes that you would like to probably foresee in existing system, probably considering the very nature of your organization in mind?
Yeah, so I think one is when there is an issue, if you can predict and analyze your customers' experience overall, right? And how quickly, if at all, there is any deterioration or any flaw such that you can identify in an automated way, can you correlate and find out the root cause? I think someone talked about, maybe one of Dipti's, that when there is a problem, I can first figure out, which gives you the anomaly that, hey, there is an anomaly compared to the actual the benchmarking data that you may have, and quickly I can correlate where exactly the problem is. So in an automated way, find the root cause, and if possible, have a runbooks and automated actions defined as well, right? So you give better customer experience. The other thing is, you may have a lot of tech debts. A lot of times we just get into the rat hole of, what are the things that we can fix, or maybe boiling the ocean that, okay, let's try to fix everything. But maybe analyzing that, what's the effort versus the impact. Pick up something which has low effort and higher impact maybe, right? So these are some of the things that I would recommend.
Right. Mr. Arvind, what are your views on the kind of changes that you would like to see?
I think it's like Google. You can search any information, you will get a lot of information. So you have 10 number of ITSM tools available. Which one to go, which partner to bring in. All those are challenges, So based on your business priority, you go for the right tool.
Right.
And then selecting a right partner who puts his skin into the game. It's not today. It's not a world of selling the licenses. I can have white elephant at my house, but if I don't know how to treat it, there's no use of that, platform. So every platform has most of things, you talk about insights, AI, ML, automation, you talk about any technical jargons today. Every platform claims to have everything.
Yes.
So the challenge is what to choose, whom to partner with.
That's what I was about to ask. How to
it's a-
differentiate? I mean, you have
Yeah.
you have a number of platforms available. How do you
Yeah.
ensure that which one is closer to your requirements, right?
So I would say, there is no right hand screw that one fits all. Depending on your business, depending on your stage of business, you select the right tool.
Right.
And select a right partner. Choosing a right partner is also important.
Yes.
So these are all structures. Platforms are like structures, but you need a partner to implement those things. So adaptability of a platform is only when there is a right execution of that platform. I can have best of the platforms, but it's not executed right. There won't be adaptability. There won't be acceptance of those tools.
Right.
So I would say from innovation perspective, it's it should be more self serviced, and it should be more guiding, because everybody may not be technical enough to understand what insights you are giving or what problem is coming. Can the tool guide a person to fix those things or understand the problem? So that's the basic thing which mostly is missing. You will have a lot of knowledge there, but how to use that knowledge is also a problem.
Right. Shrikant, would you like to comment on this?
Yes, see, I think the basics of ITSM, which we come from the ITL process, I think ITL 3, which we came a decade back. Now, the ITL 4, which came with the new processes. And what the Dipti has showed, the empowerment of the ITL 4 with ITSM, getting Agile ITSM, so that has to come into the process. So I think the main crux of this thing is getting the process with the right ITSM tool, as Mahesh mentioned, that we need to be more proactive than the reactive thing. So the new ITM will be the more proactive than getting the SREs and everything to fix at the right time.
Right. Thank you. Let's go to Mr. Mahesh now, sir. From an adoption perspective of modernizing, ITSM that we are discussing, how do you see some of the cultural, process, and technological advancements, right, that are going to impact the major enterprises?
So there are two parts to this, right? So the first thing is, like you said, there is a proliferation of open source tools. So there's so much technology available to you. So where do we draw the line with picking up a tool that is freely available or open source kind of thing, and then spending tons of money implementing it? So you draw the line there. Second thing is, when you talk about technology, when you talk about adoption of this, Mr. Arvind already said, right? So you pick up what's right for your company. But then there is also the third angle, which is automation. So when you talk about tools, when you talk about, so I give you a simple example. There are repetitive tasks that we do. Simple thing, creation of users. You onboard, any big company would be onboarding tens of thousands of people every month. Now, if you have a service desk representative that's constantly creating these users, it's just a waste of time. You automate that. So we've experienced that, right? So when we did the automation, just automating onboarding and offboarding requests for people, we reduced 40% of the tickets straight away. So those are the kind of things that I'd look at from an innovation and technology perspective.
Right. Thank you, Shrikant. Once again, I'd like to seek your input also on the same question from the cultural, process, and technological advancements, right, which are going to impact major enterprises, right?
See, I think the cultural process has to be set up in the initial stage, because when we see that security is one of the crucial things in the process, getting the output, because right now which we do the securities in different teams, like load testing we do with the different teams, and we do the performance testing with the different teams. So they're not synchronized in the proper. The collaboration is not in the process. So I think the process and the culture has to be a major change. What most of the CEOs are looking for.
Right. Thank you. Now, we all had various inputs. Security is one of the major concern always, right? Especially when we were talking about people are working from various locations, from various devices, right? And so let's start with you only. Being a part of Enreap, how do you ensure this? The overall security of whatever platform services, whatever solutions that you have to offer to your customers, right?
See, I think what I say that security is what DevSecOps is the one buzzing word which is happening right now. Every fintech company or a banking was looking for security. So there is a certain process which we established for the couple of fintech companies. So I think the process has been done to get the proper security in couple of cases. So I think, when it comes to Enreap, we are standard our own process to get the DevSecOps in the standardizing process and serve to the customers. I think I'll be the one who will be allowed or will be interacting with a couple of folks over here in case of any DevSecOps which wanted to implement that, we can help you out there.
Right. Okay, now let's take one round of questions, one more round of questions from all the panelists, and this is on releasing applications faster while ensuring their security. You just mentioned how you are ensuring this within your organizations while offering your services to your customer. Mr. Arvindji, can we have your input first, right?
I think SaaS model, that is making life easier. So all the platforms now you get in SaaS model. So security is a shared responsibility still. But you expect the security taken care of as part of the platform as a service.
Right.
So I think that's one thing. Still, security is something which you cannot be sure about any day. It can have sleepless nights anytime.
Right. Mr. Venkatraman?
See, when it comes to security, it is just not limited to the business organization in which you're working or you're handling. It is a complete ecosystem where you have to take care of. When I say this, the partners, the software partners who are there, who provide you software, your customers. I mean, again, I'll come back to my industry. We have our stockists or distributors. How secure? Because they have an interface with our systems. So how is, from the process standpoint, from the platform standpoint, how secure are they? And then, of course, the greatest weak link, which if I have to call it that way, is the employees. I mean, our users our systems. So how aware are they, and how can we increase their awareness and all? So overall, if you see the security perspective, and it's a moving target. I mean, you don't have a fixed destination and all. It's all known that the hackers are a step ahead and all, and it's a catch-up game which goes on. I had one of my, and then again, you have this cloud part which he was talking about. The security is going beyond the frontiers of the organization. So it is, even a small window is open, I mean, that becomes a bigger threat to your landscape and all. The other day I was just going through my operational systems and all, and I was surprised to see a vulnerability which we never thought it could be, that and all. And immediately I had to plug that gap and all. So these are all areas which were long neglected, or rather they were not focused upon. The operational technology, I don't know how many of us, we have focused on the security part of it and all, the IoTs and all, the sensors which you have. So these are all unused printers. If they are lying in your office, they could be a potential threat and all. So these are all areas, or these are all pockets where we have to focus more in these times and all. So these are all, I mean, focus areas for us, for maybe similar organizations like us and all, which were not there some time back.
Right. So Sanjay ji, now you come from an industry where, of course, in every city a lot of competitions, right? So of course, to maintain and your security posture should be very strong and strengthened, but then you have to release the application faster also. That was I was about to actually, that was I asked that you have to release the application at a faster pace also. At the same time, you maintain the security also. Plus, then you are collaborating with other partners like any ITSM partner. So how do you take all these 3-4 things together, right?
Yeah, so a few things. One is security kind of built in, right? Yeah, again, I think the other term is shift left, right, of approach of security, where it's built in, and it's built in into your pipeline. Moreover, you have bunch of policies and all that which are enforced. So building in the pipeline in the sense, as a developer, if I get the confidence and if pipeline gives me that visibility that if pipeline has given me green signal, that means it has maybe cross QA quality, it has cross say security, it has cross maybe performance and all that. So that way I'm expediting the overall release process, right? Where every gating is built in the pipeline, and when the pipeline gives me green signal, that means I'm ready to deploy the code all the way to production. Again, this is from the traditional way to this way, where traditional way used to be like you have several approval process. You move your code from development to, then it goes to QA team, then it goes to performance team, then it goes to security team and so on. Rather, you move everything into the pipeline, right? And security team becomes the enabler basically for the business to move forward or expedite the overall release process. Now, the second thing is, even after all of this, you may have situation like what I think all of us saw exactly roughly 1 year ago, Log4j, right? No matter how you prepare, you may have these kind of unprepared events where you may have to react very quickly. Now, for that, do you have right tooling deployed? How quickly can you detect whenever you have security issues like this, in the system? How quickly can you detect, and how quickly can you find the blast radius? Like, what is the impact? And then deploying the solution on top of that.
Right. So, Maheshji, your input on this. So what I understand, you need a really agile approach, right? Because you have to manage so many things, right? You develop softwares, right? Deliver it at a faster speed, right? And it all becomes possible when you have your ITSM very agile. Is that what we are discussing, right? So Maheshji, your views on this.
So we spoke about security, shift left. Security is part of your application. How much can you automate? You have profiles where you can build into pipeline, and you don't need a human watching it to actually approve. So that speeds up your cycle. How often can you release so that this can be checked, this can be tested in production, right? So those are the two things that I'd like to add here. And from a security posture, how often can you test? That's more important now. Now, we spoke about the pipeline where we test almost every build, but in your production systems or your test systems, how often can you spend? Because today my co-panelists just spoke about cloud, we spoke about SaaS, we spoke about multiple things, which many of this is not in our control, right? And we've got hackers, we've got people from outside who are constantly trying to beat us at our own game. So how often can we test? So these are some things that we keep our eyes on, automate as much as possible, and then take it from there.
Right, a final quick round, just probably in 30 seconds, if you can all have your closing comments. Any message that you would like to give? Let's start with you, Mr. Mahesh.
This sounds like repetition, but
yes.
Automation, monitoring, observability, constant validation. These are some things that I'd leave you with. Of course, when it comes to service management, how can you get the most critical people in your organization coming together to resolve the problem as soon as possible. So those are something that will actually bring down your total TAT down and then keep you in the business.
Thank you. Sanjay ji.
For me, I think I would say detection. How quickly, if at all, there is any anomaly in the system, how quickly can you detect and apply any solution on top of that?
Right.
Of course, I think we talked about various other things like, agility and the faster pace. But once everything is, say, deployed to production, if at all there is any anomaly, how quickly can you detect and maybe apply some automated solution?
Thanks. Mr. Venkatram.
See, I would say that technology per se has less value for the businesses as such. So technology which furthers the business, which enables the business and brings in differentiators, those are the ones which are of value to us, and we look forward to that. When we talk about technology and when we talk with technology organizations, we emphasize on that, and that's what is we look forward to.
Thank you. Arvind ji.
I think deeper involvement of AI, I think that would help. It's about detection and responding. there should not be a lot of manual interventions. I think CTO or CIO becoming a business transformation officer, that's the way to go.
Right. Shrikantji, you listen to all the key points from all four of them. So,
No,
as a solution provider, what would be your
I
comment?
think we discussed lots of challenges today. But the main thing is that getting the right tool with the right process, that's most important. And so we at Enreap, I think we help with customers to have the right process and right delivery and get the right tools at the right time and right partner.
Right.
So we are there as the right partners, so we take it forward from here with any kind of solutions.
That's right.
He's in fact rightly placed.
That's right. Thank you. So I understand, I mean, a 45-minute or 40-minute panel discussion is of course not enough when you discuss a subject like this, right? There are subjects within subject that you need to very elaborately, seek input from all these experts who are here. But still, it's a a kind of an effort from our side that we have these kind of discussions. And of course, I mean, we were very happy. We had many questions from the audience also. If anyone right now would like to ask, we can take maximum 2 questions. If you have, you may please go ahead and ask the panelists. Yes, of course, we see your hand. Can you please, or you can just, I see your voice is quite loud. You can, yes.
So my question is, I think this. So my question is for you, sir. In the entire presentation that we saw, I think probably you can take it from a perspective that, the tagline says driving business with agility in IT service management and security. But the only aspect of security that I could see was the risk assessment part of it. The reason I'm raising this particular concern or a question is that when it comes to security, it's very subjective and optional in nature by a lot of organizations. So the kind of culture that we would need to build for any given organization is that security becomes an integrated part of it. So it becomes part of the workflow. And that is where I was asking the question to Dipti as well. So what I wanted to understand is, and since all of us have talked about agility and proactive nature of things, do you feel that embedding security as a crucial step in the workflow, which cannot be skipped, would actually be serving the purpose of being proactive in one way or the other?
See, as we've spoken about agility, so agility we have in the planning, delivery, operations. So we are running on agility, but we must not skip the security, because the security is crux of all these 3. So when it comes to security, I think it has to be embedded within the delivery system so that it has to go as per the process itself. It has to be in the culture within the planning or delivery or operations, which we follow in the Enreap.
That is where I was looking out for, because even if we look at the IT service management, the standard itself, ISO 20000, after 2018, even they have mandated risk management as an integrated part of the certification and the standard. So from that perspective, I wanted to understand that in the product, in the workflow of the tool that we use, one of the security checks or whatever risk controls that we have put in, whether that is from a compliance perspective, because risk is mother of everything. All the audits and everything come basis your risk, and that is your compliance and then your governance. So do you feel that integrating a more mature workflow step, which comprises of various security checks, would that be helpful, or would that actually be seen as an obstruction?
The point of the process, or you're talking the point of the tools?
I'm talking on the basis of the solution that was displayed. So
when it comes to the part of the tools, it has to be embedded. That's what the direction has to be there. But process, already we are doing that. So when you are doing a security in the process of DevOps, it's a process which we are simultaneously following. But what kind of tools we are using, that has to be come into the picture.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So meanwhile, we shall formally close the session here. I would invite Mr. Patrao and Mr. Vinod Batra, sales head at Enreap, for the vote of thanks. I request all the panelists to be on dais only so that we can have a group photograph also after the vote of thanks. So Mr. Karl and Mr. Vinod Batra. Thank you.
Thank you, Harshal. That was a great moderation of today's evening, and we're looking forward to catching up much more in the future. What we have heard across today is a lot innovation and AI, intelligent automation. These are the key things that all CIOs, CXOs, and people in the IT industry are looking at. JSM is been named as Forrester's leader in just this 18 out of 22 that the parameters that they looked at. JSM kind of topped that, and that's why they were named the leader. And which is why we are also looking at JSM very seriously and looking at how we can get some demos out to you as soon as possible. It's great that all of you were here, were listening to this. The one last thing that I wanted to put from my side is more from an overall Atlassian perspective. We have a massive community for Atlassian and for Jira users and Atlassian users. I would urge all of you in your organizations to, if not you, get your teams to join this, because a lot of these questions that you ask over here are answered over there. A lot of your solutions can be answered there. So my only request to you as you're going back today is get your teams to join the Atlassian community. For the vote of thanks, Vinod Batra is with us. He is the head of sales for Enreap, for APAC. Although he jokes that it's globally he's the head of sales. So over to Vinod.
Thanks, Carl. Yeah, thank you everyone for being part of this event. I won't take much time, just a thank you note to everyone. Special thanks to the Atlassian team, Dipti and Carl, for being part of this. Special, again, thanks to the panelists who shared their experience, and I hope it was knowledgeable to you guys, wherein you could also relate it to the problems which you are facing or you might have faced in the past. And I thank you again for making this session interactive. I could see many questions coming up, and a few of you require demos and maybe customized demos. So we are here and you can get in touch with us and we can continue the discussion over drinks and dinner. So thank you everyone. Thank you.
Once again, I thank all the esteemed panelists for joining us, Atlassian team, Enreap team, and Carl and Vinod for vote of thanks. I request you for a group photograph and a round of applause for Mr. Venkatraman, CIO, MTR Food, Mr. Sanjay Singh, CIO, Games 24/7, Mr. Arvind Singh, Chief Technology and Product Officer and Executive Vice President IT at Purvankara Limited, Mr. Mahesh S, Vice President Engineering, Chargebacks 911. Sir, please join us for a group photograph. Carl, yeah, please join. Please join. Thank you, everyone. So with this, we formally close the session here, and now we shall have cocktail and dinner together. And I'm sure you will have some more interesting discussions amongst you all. Thank you.